Hello, it is Sunday, the 25th of January 2026. My name is Katie, and these are your news headlines. A major news survey has found that 1 in 4 children starting reception this year are not toilet trained, with teachers warning that more pupils than ever are arriving without the basic life skills needed to learn. The annual survey by early years charity Kindred Squared found that 26% of reception children are having frequent toilet mishaps. 28% cannot eat or drink independently. 25% struggle with basic life skills, and 37% are not school ready, which is up 2% on last year. Teachers say they are losing 2.4 hours of teaching time a day, including 1.4 hours spent changing nappies or helping children use the toilet. Kindred Squared's Chief Executive Felicity Gillespie said school readiness has reached a critical moment, calling it a systemic crisis driven by stretched resources, low expectations, the cost of living, and parents not receiving early guidance. The government wants 75% of children school ready by 2028. Current figures show 68.3% reached a good level of development last year. Teachers also reported that 28% of children cannot use books correctly, with some trying to swipe them like tablets. More than half blamed excessive screen time. Parents, however, overwhelmingly believe their children are ready, with 88% saying so and 94% wanting national guidance on how to prepare their children for school. School leaders say early years support and special educational needs identification are crucial, warning that years of underinvestment in community and health services have left needs rising faster than support. Okay, this is me talking now, right? Not the article. So, and where did I see it? 1.4 hours spent changing nappies or helping children use the toilet. This is not what teachers are for. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be a percentage of children that have special educational needs. They, obviously they have different needs. They should be assessed and given the help they need, separate from the teacher. The teacher shouldn't be doing this. And the government wants only 75% of children school ready. No, it should be 100% of children school ready. If those, and if those children have special educational needs, that needs to be assessed within reception, I would say. So no, I'm not that's not acceptable. Surely you would want as close to 100% as possible. And 28% of children cannot use books correctly. That does not surprise me. They are using tablets instead. I am not surprised by that at all. And parents, up to 88%, say their children are ready. The statistics say otherwise. And 94% want national guidance on how to raise their child. No. That's pathetic. 94% of parents don't know how to toilet train their child. That is offensive, to be quite honest. 94% of children don't know how to teach their children to eat or drink. That's not acceptable. No. Everyone should be sterilised at birth, and when they get to 18, they should be unsterilised only if they pass a parenting test. That's my extreme solution. That is most certainly not a solution. Don't take it literally, please. Anywho, let's move on. Support honest journalism. Make sure you like, leave a comment and subscribe. No bias, no bullshit, only the facts. The House of Lords has voted 261 to 150 to back an Australian-style ban on social media for under-16s, handing the government a significant defeat and forcing MPs to consider the proposal. Supporters say parents are in an impossible position as children face escalating online harms. Technology Secretary Liz Kendall has launched a 3-month consultation on a potential ban, overnight curfews, and measures to curb doom scrolling, but peers accuse the government of delaying action. Conservative peer Lord Nash said the evidence of harm is overwhelming, warning that teenagers spending 5 to 7 hours a day online are suffering damage to health, cognition, education and well-being. Paediatricians and children's rights campaigners urged immediate action, while others warned a blanket ban could leave children unprepared for the digital world at 16. The Lords also backed a ban on providing VPNs to children amid concerns they are used to bypass age verification systems. The government says it will act robustly, but must ensure the approach is evidence-based. Again, this is the nanny state interfering. Parents should know how to control their child's internet access. All devices have various controls on them that are password protected. There is no reason for any under 16 to be doom scrolling in the middle of the night. Parents need to take responsibility. Anywho, next one. In other news, nurse Jennifer Mellay has been reinstated after the NHS backed down over claims she breached confidentiality by speaking publicly about racial abuse she suffered from a transgender paedophile patient. The Trust has now admitted the patient could not be identified from her comments, meaning no confidentiality breach occurred. After a 2-hour disciplinary hearing, Miss Mellay was told no further action would be taken. Supporters celebrated outside the hearing, including nurses involved in previous legal challenges over mixed-sex changing rooms. Miss Mellay still plans to pursue legal action, alleging harassment, discrimination, and breaches of her rights under the Equality Act and Article 9. She says she was racially abused by the patient after refusing to use female pronouns, citing her Christian beliefs. More than 20,000 people signed a petition calling for her reinstatement. The Trust said it was pleased she would return to work and apologised for the racial abuse she experienced. First thing to note, the NHS has acknowledged that racial abuse happened. And if you are a regular listener to my podcast, you will know my views on transgenderism. You will also know my views on paedophiles. This prisoner, whoever they are, it is, I don't care. I do not care. You are fed, you are watered, you are housed. To be honest, that is more than you deserve as a convicted paedophile. I have views on how paedophiles should be handled, but that is a different topic for a different day. But it looks like sanity is slowly coming back to the UK, maybe. And it's unfortunate that Miss Mellay had to cite her Christian beliefs as reason for not using the patient's chosen pronouns. Because it's common sense, it's common knowledge, it's medical fact, keeping in mind she's a nurse. It's biological fact. It's legal fact. She could have cited any reason, including it's a man. At the High Court in Glasgow, Lyridan Castrati, has been jailed for 10 years after using a chainsaw in the attempted murder of police officers. Judge Gallagher described the incident as the stuff of horror films, saying he had never encountered a chainsaw being used as a weapon in court. The attack happened in May 2024 when Casarati crashed into a police car in Paisley, then retrieved a chainsaw, removed its safety guard, and chased PC Gary Cohen down a busy road while revving the engine and shouting abuse. CCTV and mobile phone footage showed traffic stopping and members of the public trying to help the fleeing officer. PC Cowan said he believed he would be killed. Judge Gallagher said the attack caused significant harm and could have resulted in carnage had the officer stumbled. He said the sentence must reflect the utter unacceptability of such violence. And just as a reminder, they were sentenced to 10 years in jail for attempted murder. They may be out in 5 for good behaviour, probably. A 28-year-old man from Trinidad has been jailed for 7 years after raping a young woman in her home while appealing a rejected asylum claim. Charette Callender was living in an asylum hotel when he attacked the woman after a night out in June 2025. The victim broke down in court as she described the lasting trauma, saying the assault had destroyed her sense of safety. Judge Fuller said Callender behaved in an animalistic way and showed not a shred of remorse. Audio recordings secretly made by the victim captured her repeatedly saying no. Callender denied rape, claiming the woman fabricated the incident, but a jury convicted him after 5 hours of deliberation. He will be eligible for release after serving 2/3 of his sentence. He now wishes to return to Trinidad and intends to engage with the government's early removal scheme. The Home Office said foreign criminals will not be allowed to exploit the system and all foreign offenders are referred for deportation at the earliest opportunity. Funny how he wants to return to Trinidad now he's been arrested. And yet, before that, it was like, no, please don't send me back. Can't be that bad. If you want clear reporting you can trust, like, comment and subscribe. No bias, no bullshit, just the news you need. A 24-year-old man from Greenwich has been jailed for 2.5 years after threatening to rape a teenage girl and urging her to self-harm during online conversations. Shabazz Kokar was first arrested in August 2025 after sending the girl screenshots of a train ticket he had booked to travel to her home. He was arrested at Stafford Station and bailed with strict conditions. He later breached these conditions by contacting the girl again, telling her to harm herself and to drop the case. He admitted encouraging or assisting serious self-harm and sending threatening communications. He was also given an indefinite restraining order. Staffordshire Police said the case is the first sentencing in the county under Section 184 of the Online Safety Act 2023, which introduced new offences including cyberflashing, threatening communications, intimate image abuse and encouraging self-harm. I don't understand. So this dude was let out on bail with strict conditions. Why are they surprised that he breached those conditions? He's a criminal. That's what they do. The United States has officially left the World Health Organization after a year of warnings that their exit could considerably damage US and global public health. The decision was based on the health agency's management of the COVID-19 pandemic, with President Donald Trump claiming it was too China-centric, a statement rejected by the World Health Organization leaders. Trump has been adamant on the US exit since the first day of his presidency in 2025, when he issued an executive order that America would quit the UN-based organisation. Following the COVID-19 pandemic, WHO member states composed an international pandemic treaty designed to prepare and deal with future pandemics, with measures including sharing vaccines, a treaty agreed and signed by all WHO member states in April last year, other than the US. The Director General, who I cannot pronounce, but his first name is Tedros, apologies, said the withdrawal was a loss for the US and the world. America's withdrawal has now left WHO without one of its biggest donors after 2 years of Washington refusing to pay its fees, a decision which caused considerable financial upset and huge job losses as consequence. WHO lawyers have suggested that the US is still obliged to pay the estimated $260 million to the organisation. Washington says it sees no reason to do so. A joint statement from US Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy and Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that WHO had tarnished and trashed everything that America has done for it, and the organisation had abandoned its core mission and acted repeatedly against the interests of the United States. They said that this included failing to return the American flag based at its Geneva headquarters. Going forward, US engagement with the WHO will be limited strictly to effectuate our withdrawal and to safeguard the health and safety of the American people. The US administration said it would continue to have bilateral relations with other nations to ensure disease surveillance, but were unable to provide information about with whom these had been established. So the US are sulking that they haven't got their American flag back from Geneva. Their priorities are a bit squiff. And in breaking news today, Andy Burnham has been blocked from standing as an MP by Labour's ruling body. The Manchester Mayor's application to stand in the Gorton and Denton by-election was blocked by Labour's National Executive Committee on Sunday, i.e. today. He had required permission from the NEC, which is the National Executive Committee, to run as Labour's candidate for the Westminster seat. But the 10-person panel voted 8-1 against him. Mr. Burnham confirmed on Saturday he had applied for permission to run amid long-running speculation that he could challenge Sir Keir Starmer for the party leadership. He said the decision had been difficult, but now was the moment to mount the strongest possible defence of what we stand for. However, his bid has been blocked amid concerns his departure would trigger an election for a new mayor in Manchester, costing hundreds of thousands of pounds. Sir Keir Starmer's allies vowed to fight his bid to run, with sources claiming he was putting ambition before the party. One ally to Sir Keir said it would immediately lead to a by-election for mayor that would cost the party several £100,000 and cost the country several £1 million. It is an election that doesn't need to take place, according to Telegraph reports. They added that setting off a new election for the Greater Manchester mayor would result in a nasty and divided campaign that could see Reform gaining control of the city. The move could threaten to spark a Labour civil war after the Manchester mayor received backing from a host of Labour colleagues, including the Deputy Leader Lucy Powell. Former Labour Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell told LBC Mr. Burnham should have been allowed to stand and brought into cabinet were he to win the by-election adding that blocking him could sow division. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood will announce tomorrow a new National Police Service, NPS, Britain's FBI, to investigate the most serious and complex crimes to try and ease pressure on local forces. As part of that, a National Public Order Commander will be brought in to coordinate intelligence and resources if widespread disorder breaks out. It follows criticism of the speed at which police responded to UK-wide riots in summer 2024 following the Southport attack, where 3 young girls were stabbed to death at a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. Mahmood told LBC, "Officers work courageously to bring peace to our streets when violent disorder breaks out, but we must do more to support their brave actions. We will establish a National Public Order Commander to crack down on disruption to keep our communities safe." A number of arrests have been made by police after protesters breached Wormwood Scrubs overnight in an act of support for a jailed Palestine Action hunger striker. A group of protesters are understood to have gained access to Wormwood Scrubs via a staff entrance area of a prison building, according to reports. Officers were deployed at the West London prison after reports that the group had refused to leave the grounds when ordered to do so and allegedly blocked prison staff from entering and leaving and threatened police officers. Footage shows protesters chanting with megaphones and banging drums as they gather outside the prison entrance with signs. The Met Police said that all those involved remain in detention and will be arrested on suspicion of aggravated trespass. The protesters are supporting 22-year-old Umar Khalid, now on the second day of a thirst strike after restarting his hunger strike 15 days ago. Khalid's threat to life is understood to be significant due to having limb girdle muscular dystrophy. He is one of a group in prison since July 2025, allegedly in connection to events at RAF Bryce Norton. 8 of those arrested have begun hunger strikes whilst in prison in protest of the charges, after they were accused of alleged break-ins and criminal damage as part of protest group Palestine Action. The Met are expected to release more information on the scale of the arrests in due course. My opinion, these protesters, the hunger strikers, etc., they're just hurting themselves. It's not going to change anything. They need to grow up and do things properly. You go through the courts, you go through the media. No good putting yourself in harm's way. Protesters hospitalised after the brutal crackdown in Iran are said to have been executed in their hospital beds as Tehran works to secure power following widespread protests. Reports state that wounded demonstrators are being executed at point-blank range, taken while still connected to heart monitors and breathing tubes. Bodies have been found lined up in medical gowns with gunshot wounds to the head. It is understood that at least 16,500 people have been killed by security forces. However, there are fears that accurate figures far surpass that, but are being veiled by Tehran. Speaking to LBC News, the Iranian human rights activist Paul Smith said that based on the latest figures he has seen, the death toll of the uprising is at least 30,000. He says there are approximately 350,000 people wounded and around 12,000 people have been blinded. But obviously these figures only include hospitals. Many families bury their children in their own gardens out of fear, without even taking them into medical centres. The regime provides no information on whether they are detained or have been killed. Based on the available evidence, a more realistic estimate is at least 45,000 people, with some estimating it to be up to 80,000 people dead. Some doctors said they attempted to explain that the patients were midway through treatment, but said the security forces were not interested and were taking the patients regardless. Even those who fled hospital are said to have been hunted down and dealt with by the regime, according to activists. There are concerns that similar practices are happening behind bars, with many protesters rounded up and thrown into prisons, and some reports suggesting secret executions without trial were taking place. It comes only days after an Iranian soldier was sentenced to death simply for refusing to fire on protesters. As the bloodshed continues, Tehran issued a warning against any US intervention, saying it will treat any strikes as an all-out war. This comes as the US president moves a considerable fleet of US naval resources towards the region. An escalation, Mr. Smith believes, shows a strike is imminent. Those are your news headlines for this week. I'm thinking of reducing it to once a week so I can focus on writing my books. If you're wondering why I haven't commented on any of the events happening in Minnesota, it's because it's a absolute shit show. I'm lost for words, to be quite honest, which is quite hard for me to do. Just stay safe. Don't put yourself in harm's way. And please don't go and protest in churches. I've seen this. There were children crying in the pews. That scene I personally found upsetting. There was no need to include children in this. I realise that some are saying that ICE are detaining children, but then you look at other sources that says they're not. That is why I'm not commenting on it, because depending where you go for your information, the information changes. So I'm not going to comment other than stay safe, stay away from the protests. There are other ways to make your voices heard that will not get you killed. But thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Don't miss the next bulletin. Subscribe, like, and comment today. No bias, no bullshit, just straight reporting.